the first word said by man? What do you think man's first word actually was? Like when they came up with conative language, what do you think the first actual word? You think it's something simple like childlike, like ball, or
Boobs.
boobs? It makes sense.
Yeah.
There's symmetry in the word. And
Easy
softly
word.
with an S, yes, a very easy word. All right, let's giggity get going. Make sure. Here we go. I'll tag you in this too. I'll put this up on your Facebook page.
Sweet.
Boop, boop, no. No, I just sent it to you in the group. I thought it was like highlight then send, but nope. Okay, I thought I sent it like 3 times. I felt like an old person for a second here. Like, how do you work this damn Book of Faces app?
What is this internet thing?
Yeah, my granddaughter got me a Facebook. As we're all strolling on in here. Oh, yeah, anything else? I mean, there's a lot of actually exciting going on in the last week. We had the World Baseball Classic. I know we talked about it a little bit last time. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun. I don't know. What's your opinion? Are you one of the staunchy old schoolers? Of like, oh, it ruins the regular season.
No, it just sucks when the good players get injured like that. What's his name? I can't remember his name. He got injured.
Diaz. Edwin Diaz got
That was
hurt.
tough. That was tough, but
Who else? Freddie Freeman,
I
American who played for Canada.
right. I do. That was weird.
I love the flexibility that they have because the other countries, I mean, let's be honest, baseball's right now worldwide very much into like 2 or 3 places. Like you have America, Japan, and then kind of like the Dominican and like Cuba. The Caribbean area has a love for baseball.
Right.
But I think being allowed to kind of let some of these guys who are American, but grandmother was Canadian, something like that,
Right.
allow some flexibility for these guys to kind of go play elsewhere.
Well, I thought it was. I don't know if you saw the stat that 97% of televisions in the country of Japan watched that championship game.
That is stupid.
Just
Like,
goes
think
to show
about
you
it.
how loyal that country is compared to ours.
Well, and you think about like going back to when TV was like first invented, and you get these like uber high ratings because there's only a couple of channels on there. I think it's like over 90% of people saw the announcement that JFK had been shot or something.
Right.
But it's like that's with the entertainment options that we have at our disposal in a nation that's honestly a little bit more technologically advanced than America.
Right. For sure.
97% of TVs were still watching the WBC. That's a win.
Well, and Shohei's striking out. What's his
Oh,
name?
Trout.
Trout.
Yeah, as an Angels fan myself, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing because this is the closest they will ever get to a championship
The
game.
question is are you guys going to keep Shohei, or are you guys just going to trade him to the Yankees or the Dodgers? Because that's
I want to keep him, but at this point, like also as a sports fan, I don't know how much longer I can just waste another generational talent because Trout's getting up there. And yeah, you just look at it, you're like, oh, okay, like we have literally the 2 greatest, like generational ball players,
Right.
generational within
Does
10
your
years of
team
each
just
other.
that bad around them? Like, how do you have the 2 best players in baseball and not be able to even make the playoffs?
Well, apparently the owners think that when you have those players, you don't need to have pitching or anything else around them,
Just one
especially
pitcher.
pitching, especially pitching.
Just weird because they're an LA franchise, so you think they'd have plenty of money.
No, they do, and we have a rather high. Like we're not top 5, but I think we're top 10 salary cap wise. Yeah, or cap roll, whatever. I'm just gonna share this around a little bit, and then we'll actually kick off our weekly mock draft. Brought to you by the Draft Network, which is powered by Panini, who has stolen a lot of money from me in my lifetime. So here we are. But yeah, I don't know. What's kind of changed this week, I guess, with
The Seahawks signed
Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner, which was kind of disappointing. 'Cause I thought the Cowboys might get him. I thought he might come play for old RD coordinator since he played with them back in the good old Seahawks days. But 1 year, $7 million. Seahawks are still. I think they're going to miss the playoffs this year. But I think last year was a fluke with Geno. But we'll see.
I don't think it was a fluke. I think they're a well-coached team.
Wow.
And that is going to get you wins in places, because I think there's this perception that the NFL is, up here teams and down here teams. And no, they're all professional athletes. Like,
Right.
I think the difference truly is in the small details. And the teams that do that, yeah, they have a little bit more talent, but it's not these bridge gaps of talent.
What I meant more was not the obviously they had a great coach. I just meant Gino part was the fluke part. I think they made a mistake paying him that much money, but I might be wrong. We'll see. They could even take a pick. They could draft a quarterback at 5. Who knows?
We'll see. I think we're going to split it up and I'll have the odds. So,
Yep.
yeah, maybe we get freaky with it.
Or that could be a trade out spot too, actually. But we'll see.
I think almost anything feels like a trade out spot right now, unless there's like teams, top 4. There's 3 teams right there who are obviously going to stay. The Cardinals being the team that is also a popular trade out spot, but everything else kind of feels like a chance. We'll get into it the more that we go, but there's going to be a lot of activity up and down in this draft. I feel.
Absolutely. I think not just in the first round, but I think in the second round and third too.
Oh, especially in the in between two and between day 1 and 2.
Well, especially with a team like the Broncos having 2/3 and not a first or second, I could really see them moving up in like the mid-second if it's somebody like whatever. I don't even know what Denver even needs at this point. They signed so many good. They had a really good offseason.
They've had a solid offseason. I like what Sean Payton's doing out there.
Curious to see if they actually do trade one of the receivers though.
So breaking news, not really breaking right now, but I guess as of today, Sean Payton was addressing the media. He did say that Cortland Sutton and Jared Jeudy are not going to be traded. So he's like, we're not going to trade those guys.
He's not going to really trade anybody then, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I mean, it's by far not a guarantee, but
I just know that they were floating it around out there. I know that.
well, yeah, Josh McDaniels said that Darren Waller's a big part of our future going forward, and then here we are.
And then they signed 2 other tight ends now. Are they going to go with the Patriot system and run 2?
Yes, and I actually will talk about that at number 7.
Okay.
We can actually use the clock too. We have 30 picks, about an hour here. Yeah, we'll say 2 minutes on the clock. Let's start the fake March 26th, 2023 NFL Draft. Doom, 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 doom. The Panthers are now on the clock.
Well, that's you, buddy.
Yep. Starting off here. God, there's such a flip-flop because there's a part of me that is starting to see this buzz grow around Richardson even a little bit more. And it's kind of like what you saw to Baker going to Cleveland.
Right.
Now, the question is are these Panthers going to be like the Browns?
I don't think so. They have a good coach. They'll do the smart thing here, but we'll see.
I do like Frank Reich. I can see where like the ceiling is appealing, obviously. Also just natural association of, hey, Cam Newton, Anthony Richardson, here's the pro comps. And at the same time, I'm like, oh, okay, that could be interesting. But, I don't know. At the end of the day, I do have 2 minutes on the clock, but let's just cut this one short. I still think it's CJ Stroud. I think that's kind of the buzz growing right now, and we'll see where it goes from there. But I'm going CJ Stroud 1.
I think that makes the most sense. I think the Texans, even though last week I shocked the mock draft world and had them take best available player and Will Anderson, now that they've made a lot of moves at the wide receiver position, I think they are going to try to bring in some competition at the quarterback position. I think they will make the mistake and take Bryce Young.
At number 2, Bryce Young.
I think he's obviously got talent. I just think he's too small, but we'll see. You can prove me wrong.
There's the size issue there, but I do think one of the things, his comp, obviously size-wise, you're going to throw out Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray as far as mobility. I just think his processing speed's a lot better than anybody else in this class. Stroud can make plays in the right system. I think he'll thrive. Levis and Richardson, I think you're looking at him like there's intrigue there, like there's a ceiling there. But Bryce Young is kind of the first person who, no matter the system, I feel like he's going to baseline do well.
Yeah, he probably has the lowest floor of all 4 of them. I think I agree with that.
Yep. Yeah, or highest floor.
Or that's
Yeah. He's got the best chance to kind of like step in day 1, be smart, be that guy. I don't think he's going to be too much of a running quarterback, although he has the athleticism. And I think that's actually probably contrary to maybe Kyler, where you're going to see maybe Bryce stay a little bit more healthy. I know he's had some injury issues in college. We'll just see. A big one's going to be blocking for him. How do they block? How do they scheme around him? And how does he get the ball out? Now at number 3 here,
It's kind of obvious,
this one's going to be kind of a trade out spot, but I feel like we've been mocking a lot of trades recently. So for this one here, I think the Cardinals are going to ask for a King's ransom.
And it's just, I don't think anyone's willing to do it without, unless one of those other two quarterbacks slip past two, would be a different situation.
Exactly, but I don't think Richardson or Levis are generating the hype right now to have someone leapfrog the Colts. So for this year, honestly, I would have thought maybe Jalen Carter could have been a pick, but obviously with the pre-draft concerns and everything, Anderson's kind of made himself the number one defensive player.
Slip a significant amount, especially not only his stupidity car accident thing, but also his
Pro day.
Pro day with like 10 pounds overweight and slow and fat. That was weird.
Also, at the same time, though, you can fault him. But I mean, if you're a 22-year-old kid who's like just a world eater like Jalen Carter, the pre-draft might just seem like a farce. Like you're gonna go along with it, so you're not the guy abstaining from a pro day. But like, let's remember, he didn't work out at the combine. Like, oh boy, he might just be enjoying his last lazy time until he has to be a peak athlete for the next 10 years. Like, you never know, but it does drop him a little bit. However, we now shift to you with the Colts on the clock.
I think if they're smart, they take Will Levis, but I have a feeling they might. The Richardson might be this might be the spot for him.
I'm feeling like Richardson just because of Steichen coming from Philly. You know what I mean? Like the mobility.
I mean, it's not that Levis doesn't have mobility, but he's more of a Josh Allen type where he uses it when he needs to.
Well, he's not Anthony Richardson.
No.
Like at this point, there is, but there isn't a comp for Anthony Richardson. Like there's a little bit of a couple things sprinkled in there, but Levis, you can kind of look at, okay, poor man's Josh Allen.
Yeah.
More along the lines of Blake Bortles right now.
Someone might get lucky and get. I think Levis might actually slip in this draft, which is going to be weird. Because I think, in my opinion, he might be the best quarterback in this draft long term. But I think the Colts see the upside with Richardson here and take him.
Anthony Richardson off the
I
board.
take him for myself, but I think the Colts might.
I like the only problem though is I could see Richardson definitely with the Colts for that. Now I would question fit because ideally Richardson's your guy out of the top four here who's not starting day one. Gardner Minshew then?
Yeah.
Or what are you doing with this Colts team? Like, are you signaling that you're going young, you're going to go through the rough patches initially, like as a number 4 team?
I think they
Should
will. And
at the
I
number
think
4 pick.
Minshew was a good signing. I think might actually get a chance, and he might have this starting job for a year or two, and then give Richardson the time he needs to learn an NFL system. Because I think Richardson does need time. I really do.
Yeah, he's only 21, Tor. You got guys like Hendon Hooker here who are 4 years older, so it's there. You can expect maybe a gap there.
Right.
Moving to number 5, though, with the Seahawks, this one is an interesting pick because we could talk quarterback, we could talk defensive player, we could talk them trading out.
I think this is the Seahawks have always. What's their Schneider? He's always been a trade back guy.
Yeah, he has.
And they have.
He's like to move. He likes to trade.
One they have what 5 and 20? Is it right?
Yep, 5 and 20.
I could see them like to be one of those teams that trade back from 5 and then maybe even trade up back from 20 to get like if somebody does slip. But the problem is who's going to trade up and for what is the question. I mean, is it quarterback or is it?
That's the big one because does someone want Jalen Carter or is it quarterback? We're going to take our first pause of the draft. Let's see what we got here. Because I don't think Tennessee, maybe they should under a new regime because they drafted Malik.
I don't think Malik is that guy anyway, and they still do have Tannehill for at least one more year. So unless they somehow pull off a trade in this draft, who's going to trade for Tannehill at this point? I know not for that contract. I know I would.
You know what? Here's what I'm looking at actually right here. Let's go on down to a couple of teams here who have done business before. We're going to start off with Seattle if I can find them. Boom. And then we're going to go to the AFC East. And we're going to go check on the Jets. Because right now, Aaron Rodgers isn't there. Why has it taken this long?
I think it's because the Packers want too much. And
I agree. So at what point do the Jets...
just say screw it?
We're a month away. If this is still not done, I don't think it's beyond the Jets to just say, fuck it. So probably you're looking at 13, obviously.
What's fair though? I mean, you have 2 seconds, so that's probably part of it.
Yep. So they throw a second there, and then probably a next year second as well? Because I don't know at 5 if you get 2 1s.
No, you're not
with a 2, but I mean a 1 in 2 seconds.
It's either that or unless there's a Jets player that's the Seahawks specifically covet, which I don't think that there is.
It doesn't seem like it. No, now with Elijah Moore off the team, and not like Seattle needs receiver anyways. But 13 still offers a fair trade back. You're still in a great range to take kind of what you need around there. But
this could shock the draft. Yeah, if they don't get Rodgers, I mean,
that's what I'm saying is everybody's kind of like putting it in. If we're doing a weekly mock draft, I'm not saying this is like my official like grade this on me forever draft, but let's get freaky a little bit.
Yeah, this is if they don't get Rodgers, and I don't think they have to give up 13 to get Rodgers anyway. So
Yeah.
I mean, and this would be a total just giant middle finger to their pick from 2 years ago. But yes,
Turn it down, actually. You just mentioned Zach Wilson. Yeah, I don't think Joe Douglas goes out and gets his ass kicked twice on that. I almost did it. But in the end, we're just going to get back to the draft. Let's just take best player available, BPA.
and they need D tackle anyway.
They do.
Cut what, 2 of them?
They have.
I think they're kind of signaling if they stay here, they take Jalen Carter. Honestly.
I agree.
I do think that if what are Lions needs, let's just take a look here. I mean, the Lions could get. I don't think why do they say that edge is the?
I don't like that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Whoops. Yeah, I thought I clicked Detroit. There we go. So tight end is 1.
That's way too early for tight end.
Yeah. So,
I mean, obviously, if Carter slips, they'll take him at 6 for sure.
and that's why I don't see like him passing past 6 or by God, 7 the Raiders too. Yeah.
I don't think edge is a need here. I just don't. Like they had the kid that they got in the middle rounds last
Houston.
year. He had a really good year to go with their obviously stud from. I can't think of his name either.
Hutchinson.
Hutchinson.
Hutchinson and James Houston. Yeah, they got some good talent out there. Interiorly, they do need help, but I think 6 is a little early for someone like a Kalijah Cansey or Brian Brees. Yeah, so.
I think I know you mentioned that they obviously helped their secondary. I think this could be a really big trade out spot, but I just don't know again what someone's trading up for right now, unless someone's desperate for like edge or one of these corners, and I just don't know if. I think
the only thing I could think here is someone thinks that the Raiders are going to take Levis, and they leapfrog him.
But who though? Is that the Titans? Is that the Buccaneers? That's one I was kind of considering. That's a big jump, 19 to 6. They have to give up a lot to do that.
They would.
But I could see them doing it. I mean, Baker Mayfield's the Band-Aid, and then you bring in someone to compete with him. And Will Levis would, I think, could take the starting job by mid-season, honestly.
It's your pick, hey.
Yeah, I think let's do something like that. Let's do the Buccaneers trading up. I think I like that one.
The Buccaneers.
And if you look at it, the Lions would have back-to-back picks too. If that happens, they have 20, I think. I know they have 18, so yeah, still.
Yep.
So to move up that much, you probably have to give next year's first, right?
I would, from 19. I think honestly, I think that would almost be the trade. Those 2 ones.
That and I mean, they might have to include like a 4th or something, something weird. But I mean, 2 1s is probably enough. And then, but the Lions are always, the Lions are always getting. They're just adding to the future. They keep doing that.
Even they're saying right now that it's very likely, but not a certainty for 2 1s. So they're saying like 2 1s might almost be too expensive.
So like what the Lions got to give like a, or maybe a 1 and a 2, or that's probably maybe throw in like something like that, a mid rounder or 2. Yeah, I think that would be a pretty fair trade.
There we go. Yeah, let's send it. Stay on the line. The Bucks are evaluating the offer, but we are the Bucks. I accept.
I think that would be a fun deal. I think I don't understand why no one's talking about them going after a quarterback. Like, I mean, I feel like that is a no-brainer. Especially we'll see if Levis slips.
But yeah, do you honestly think that they shouldn't be talked about in a world where they have Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield? Now, I like Kyle Trask, but it's Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield.
Right.
Like,
This is a slam dunk future, and I think Will Levis can be that.
Well, the Buccaneers are kind of in no man's land post Tom here. Like, they kind of remade this entire team around Brady, so now you have to figure it out from here.
Well, and and nice thing about what Levis coming here, he doesn't have to start day 1, and when he gets the job, he's going to have 2 good receivers if they're still there, next year.
No, I agree.
Would be. So.
All right.
Yep, I like it.
Dial it in.
Now it just screws your Raiders for getting a good quarterback.
That's fine. That's not where I was going anyways.
Yeah,
So,
that's
no, I like what we're doing with Jimmy. I do think if Hop ends up going at a reduced price,
You guys do it.
I want him. Yeah, well, yeah, Hop and
Yeah,
Hop and
I mean,
Adams,
you
like, yeah. At that point, Jimmy Garoppolo will have played with the dumbest offenses of all time, like as far as just tools and talent. No, this one here for the Raiders is interesting. Cornerback, I don't think is a first round need anymore. I think it's not sexy and it's not making like all the headlines, but I do think we kind of addressed that with a couple of signings. Duke Shelley
Yeah.
out of Minnesota is probably one underrated signing I really like. He played well in limited kind of time last year, so
I agree.
we'll see what happens there. However, Max Crosby is a lone brother out there. Chandler Jones regressed last year. Cleveland Farrell's gone. We've got a couple of like patch key depth pieces on the line, but
Question is which one of those top two guys are you thinking here?
so my big thing is I'm a huge guy on Tyree Wilson over Miles Murphy. Miles Murphy is more in the teens on my big
I
board.
was surprised that they have this draft network actually has Miles Murphy this high. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's talented, but
It's a lot of physical talent. Very Trayvon Walker esque, but I don't think he's getting the Trayvon Walker push. But also he didn't have the combine. Nolan Smith, his teammate from last year, is the combine god from this year. So for me, I don't think the Raiders reach it all. I do think Christian Gonzalez or Devin Witherspoon would be a great pick, but at the point where Tyree Wilson may not be available here, I love him for the Raiders just because of his ability to play inside and out. You could play him on the opposite side of Max, but at the time you can have him rush inside on third downs,
Right.
maybe throw Chandler Jones outside, but then he can still play a defensive end on running downs.
well, and I do think that if you guys don't go edge there, you could go tackle, but I don't think that any of these tackles are worthy of a 7th overall pick.
No, I agree. Well, no, we won't go tackle. That won't be happening. No, we already have our tackles. Why would we go tackle?
I thought you only had one.
Jermaine Illuminor and Colton Miller.
Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
about Lemonor. My bad.
I'm just saying he's disrespected because he was really bad the first 2 weeks, but he was like the
Yeah.
number 6 tackle in the NFL from weeks 3 to 18. So like, he was great last year, despite the start of the year.
I think the Falcons are going to give Ritter one more year.
I do too. I don't think they
gotta at
go
least give it a
quarterback.
shot.
Yep.
I mean, and I think the Falcons kind of surprised that wide receivers not a little higher on this needs list, but I think with both top 2 corners being here and that being arguably the number 1 need, I think Christian Gonzalez is. I would take him and Devin Witherspoon are arguably 1A and 1B on corners.
I agree.
I like Christian Gonzalez's athleticism better though. I think that's their go-to. And then now they have a stud cornerback pairing though, because they have the AJ Terrell.
Yep, they have AJ
That's a
Terrell going
great
next to
young-
him.
Yeah, it's a
They
big-
just
great-
need somebody next to him.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that's kind of like where you guys were getting Stephon Gilmore. Is like, all right, well, finally, Trayvon Diggs has a partner in crime here. Now the Bears we talked about is definitely a look at a trade out spot. However, at this point, what do you trade out for? I don't think receiver has enough juice behind it to kind of start getting taken early. Like JSN is kind of getting propped up right now, but I still don't see that right here at 9, and I don't see anybody making a move for it at 9. Like risking future assets.
No, the problem is and also is there a team that's wide receiver needy other than the Packers, and the Bears aren't going to help the Packers. So
Exactly. Like that was kind of my thought is like what makes sense. Obviously last year there was 9 trades in the first round involving first round picks. So it's kind of hard not to like feel like at a certain point like you're mocking too many trades like in a traditional mindset, but like no, if you mock like 9 fucking trades, that's
normal,
accurate.
yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate now. Year before had 7
Is
trades,
there anyone
so
that needs corner like desperately? Because Devin Witherspoon, I mean, that'd be a trade up spot maybe, but who would need corner that bad?
I
to
just-
do it?
I think the sexiness of trading down twice is always there when you're mocking, but to see it actually happen in real life, I don't think ever usually happens.
What do you have the Bears do here though?
Paris Johnson. Paris Johnson just had a great pro day for Ohio State. A couple of guys were talking about him as the most athletic tackles come out of the class come out in the last 5 years. So yeah, that kind of hype being generated from anonymous executives. Obviously, I think there's someone that takes him. I think the Bears need him.
Yeah.
They were kind of a big one for not Trent Brown, Orlando Brown.
Yeah, which I thought they were going to do it. And then speaking speaking of someone folding the bag, the contract he turned down from the Chiefs, and then got like what $6 million less per
Oh,
year.
fucking
That was terrible.
LOL. I laugh at that so hard.
I mean, I kind of want to take a kicker for the Eagles here, just because I hate him so much. But
Yeah, you shouldn't be allowed to be. Yeah, just like, you know, if I get, I'm gonna have the Chargers and I'm gonna have them draft a fucking fullback from North Dakota State.
yeah, I mean,
So
I mean, I get that they still have corner. They addressed
not
it,
after they chose Bradbury Slay, the older pairing, over CJ Gardner Johnson.
And I think if Devin Witherspoon slips to here, I don't see them passing on him. I just don't. I mean, I hate to give him another stud corner, but I think that the Eagles take Witherspoon here if he slips to 10.
Really?
I mean, it's either that or I mean, they could go Miles Murphy. They do need edge.
I just think, yeah, they need. I mean, your pick. You can do what you want here.
I'm trying to think what they have at edge right now. They have two.
They have Son Reddick. They lost Hargreaves. They re-signed Brandon Graham, but he's, what, 35, 34 now?
I forgot they lost Hargreaves.
Yeah. So, like, interior defensive line, I wouldn't even say, like, 10 isn't horrible. Like, for me, I like Kalijah Cansey, but...
Early, I think, for him, but I think, yeah. You know what? Miles Murphy actually makes a lot of sense, too. Yeah, let's do that.
Miles Murphy.
Yeah, I like that.
Studley.
This is a weird one. This is a weird spot, I think, here.
This is because
January's.
they gave a contract to, who was the new tackle they got? Where did he play last year? Carolina? No. Whoever they signed a tackle there, they gave like $8 million a year to a fucking backup, and I think they're just gonna throw him at left tackle. Yeah, especially after you cut Taylor Lewan for like 11 mil.
Yeah, and LeBron is a Pro Bowler. Like,
Yeah, like he just got hurt.
Speaking of that, who signed him? Did anybody sign him yet?
No one yet.
Why?
I don't know. The boy's just enjoying the offseason. He's a veteran though, so a lot of these guys don't go till later on. You know what I mean? Like unless they're kind of prime guys like Bobby Wagner or something. Like a lot of these, especially a vet coming off of injury, non quote unquote key position. I mean, I think offensive tackle is key, but you know, when you're talking about, he's not that tier 1 talent
No, not anymore.
right now. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
he was up until 2 years ago, but
still respectable.
this is
I mean,
a weird spot though. I mean, they could still go tackle. They could easily go wide receiver. They could take the first wide receiver off the board here.
so I think last year, what I'm starting to heat up on, and not so much that I view his value so high as this, but if you are a team who needs a slot and you need to give weapons around somebody, I think JSN would be a hot pick here just because they went big body last year. You still have Treylon Burks. You still want to believe in him.
Yep.
But you need somebody to kind of run on the inside there, and Burks isn't a slot receiver, so that's where I'm going to go JSN going off the board here.
I like that, and they did let
Robert Woods.
go. So, yeah, I might need you to pull up the Texans' top needs.
Oh,
here
yep.
Because this one, I just feel like there's still that team that needs everything at this point.
I know, like how PFF shaded them last year.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Let me see the top overall real quick. This is a
Oh.
weird spot. I feel like for the Texans. Again, could be a trade out spot.
Who do they have at right tackle?
Well, we know they have their left tackle because they overpaid for him again. But I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a good tackle, but he's not that good.
Yeah, Laramie Tunsil got so high on draft day that his stock went with him, apparently, because, yeah, that fucker is sold high everywhere from Miami.
Really, I mean, they could still go tackle here, but I think it's really weird that Devin Witherspoon is slipping this far, but I don't think they need corner.
Stingley Petrie last year. They could use another corner.
Yeah,
But
I think they actually go wide receiver here, and I think that they could keep the Texas boy in Texas and go the TCU kid. What's his name again? TCU wide receiver.
Quentin Johnson.
Yeah, I think that's who they go here, because if they want to build around, Bryce Young, they need to get more good weapons, and I think that they've added some wide receivers, but none of them are in their like really young prime.
Yeah, Robert Woods. I mean, John Mechie's going to be coming in there,
Off
you
of
know.
injury, you gotta get,
Well,
Victoria's ACL, right?
No, cancer.
Oh shit! Why did I?
Yeah, he had Hodgkin's
That's
lymphoma.
right,
So, I mean,
Yeah, that's right. And
still, though.
it's not like they drafted him in the first round last year.
Oh, yeah, no, he was like a third-round pick, I
Third or
think.
fourth
Yeah.
rounder, So, again, I think the Jets are gonna get Rodgers, but I don't think this is the pick that'll be involved. I think it'll be like, since they have those 2 2s, I think that'll somehow be involved. Maybe a 2 and like a conditional 3 next year or something.
Yeah. No, I can see that. However, bringing this up here in this team needs, I think the Jets are actually in a spot for a unique trade back. We are now finding what is kind of organically our first slip in Devin Witherspoon, top 10 talent. Shouldn't be here at number 13. No. Like, if the Raiders drafted him, Christian Gonzalez, I would be okay. I don't think we're going to go cornerback, but that doesn't mean I don't think we need it. However, though, let's do a little pause here because I do think the Steelers actually kind of surprised some people. Make a conservative move here. It's not huge. I mean, you're going up 4 picks in the middle rounds. I think this probably ends up being, once I can shut up and find the picks. There we go. I think what this ends up being is you just, like, they have a late second here. You have this one right here. Maybe a third. I don't know, that late second.
Late second, and you get a 5th. Oh, you're going the wrong way. That's surprising. They're really valuing this 13th pick on here.
They are. So, I don't know. I feel like that's not bad. Late second here, and then you kind of balance that off with a mid-4th. Move around a little bit, and then, I don't know, they have 2 7s. The Jets don't. Let's make this complex.
That's right. They have the Claypool trade for the. I was trying to figure out why they had the 33rd overall pick. I forgot about that.
Yeah, which is the 32nd overall pick. Let's make this real.
Right.
Let's call it what it is. Chase Claypool got traded for a fucking first rounder.
Good job,
For
Bears.
a fucking first rounder, yes. The Bears could have had because the Dolphins fucked up. They could have been the gift, that came out of nowhere. But no, I still think that they should throw that pick on draft night. Do not short the people.
Right.
Give us 32 picks the first night.
The other crazy thing is this could be a trade up for corner, but it could also be a trade up for Skoronski at tackle too.
I agree.
Yes. But Devin Witherspoon should not go this far.
I do think Johnson, not on my board, but on overall talent where I view them long term, but I do think Johnson now leapfrogs him in the majority consensus where I kind of view people getting drafted board. I think Johnson does go higher than Skoronski now, especially like he came in looking lean on his pro day. I saw him, bro. He was moving, and I know those are underwear workouts, but you can't fake a 325-pound man moving like that.
For sure.
Yeah, there's no deep fake or, pads don't slow him down that much.
For sure.
Not a Knox like that. So.
Ooh, Patriots.
Oh, yeah, America's fucking most hated team. Let's bring up their team needs and see what they need.
Interesting.
Number 1, a soul.
Yeah. Have Belichick retire so they can suck for a while. Tackle?
I do think tackle's a big one. I like Skoronski. I can't quite put my finger on why, but I think it's crystal clear.
Unless they really value one of the interior defensive linemen, but I think Skoronski's too good of a value here at 14. Yeah, I think that they.
I think he's going to be white. That's what I'm saying here. I think the man's going to be white. So Skoronski or Brian Brees, take your fucking pick here.
Yeah,
I
think you're right with Skoronski here. I think that's the pick. Yeah, they need tackle more than they need, even though it says.
Well, and they like those guys too, because Isaiah Wynn was someone that they were kind of rumored to be looking to trade or shop, and he's a right tackle at 6'2". So it's not like they covet the long arms and your traditional. Kind of measurables. I could also see Skoronski kicking inside the guard too. It just kind of depends where they need to play him.
For sure.
I do think he has the best base set of tools out of anybody in this class, though, as far as just.
The question is, do you have the Packers actually doing it? Are they actually going to draft a wide receiver in the first round?
Say it ain't slow, Joe.
The problem is which one? Because the 2 best ones are gone.
Actually, my personal favorite of this class is still there, but I love me some Zay Flowers. However, though, they've just put a lot of stock into it, is my question. I also look at where teams have gone in the past, and it's not so much should they do it, but there's that needling in the back of your head of well, we already kind of invested the stock into this. Christian Watson last year was arguably a first-round pick as far as value and what teams thought.
Oh, yeah, sure.
he showed last year. No, they need that. However, they need tight end like a motherfucker too. They could probably use an edge rusher. There's multiple needs. The problem is looking at the board. What are you looking at?
I think it's either. I would say it's either the pick your poison at one of those 2 receivers. If you like the slot guy better, there you go. Otherwise, Brian Breesy not Brian Breesy. Excuse me.
Lucas Van Ness.
Thank you. Van
I do
Ness.
think Van Ness is a little low here, and I do think he actually goes probably because of after that combine top 15-ish. So let's make sure he doesn't. That's a good one. I kind of eyed that one when I scrolled down. I'm like,
Well,
you know,
the Packers just don't draft a receiver in the first round for no apparent reason. I just don't get it. But
it worked out though. Watson looked all right. Devontae Adams was a second-round pick. Like I still stay on the side of the Packers of like I don't think they did wrong by Aaron Rodgers.
I like how I keep getting you to make all the NFC East picks. This is hilarious.
I know, right?
Um,
Come on, Commanders.
If you're just basing it off of what you just showed me on team needs for the
They do need a
Commanders,
corner, bad.
I mean,
Yeah.
Joey Porter is pretty obvious here. Then I mean, if that's their number one team need, and that I think he's going to be a good corner for somebody, man. I really do. I think actually he was.
He's got that game instinct that when you see your dad play. I mean, I'm sorry. There's just a little bit of an advantage there. There just is. Like, let's just call it what it is. Next pick, I think, is super easy because I would have probably been happy with this at 17 or at 13. So to be at 17, the Jets get a little bit of value back, but Broderick Jones is probably another great guy that they're gonna pick and pop there.
Now the Lions.
And
get
now
back-to-back.
we split the Lions picks. Let's go.
So the Lions already they traded back from 6. I think if they would stay at 6, they could just take almost anything at that point. 'Cause there's so many good players there. I think if this actually happens, I think one of these 2 picks might be a tight end. There's 3. Good
I agree.
ones.
Honestly, where I was kind of thinking here is wherever you went. Like if you went somewhere else, I was gonna go Michael Mayer, or if you went Michael Mayer, I was gonna go Brian Brees.
Right, and I think that's obviously the 2 picks here. Those are by far their 2 biggest needs. I'm trying to figure out why this has Derek Hall this high.
The Draft Network has loved Derek Hall for a while. I think he's good.
It's a second
I,
rounder.
that's the thing is he's a second rounder. He's not number 20 on my fucking big board, you know.
If the Lions can move back and pick up those picks and still get arguably 2 of their guys that already that they're eyeing already.
Well, you have the number 2 or 3 depending on your big board defensive tackles, and then you have the number 1 tight end.
Yeah.
I mean, some people have had Kincaid start jumping, but Mayer, I think, was tight end 1 for too long. You can kind of look at the receiving upside. Kincaid's a little bit more athletic, but I don't think you can get with the game smarts. Like, you know, he's kind of like another George Kittle.
Right.
You know what I mean? He can break tackles. He's a smart player. He blocks a little bit better.
Let me scroll down for me here. I want to see what Seahawks have. What are the other? This Derek Hall is just throwing me off on the edge. There's another edge that's better than that. I know there is.
Oh, yeah. You have, like, Nolan Smith, Will McDonald, Timo Adubawari.
So,
Yeah.
as we talked before, this could also be a trade back spot.
For someone wanting by Jean.
Uh-huh. Kind of what I was thinking. And the Buffalo Bills seem like a likely spot for that. If they get ahead of the Chargers, I think that could be it.
My thing, though, is they got James Cook last year. Like, I guess Singletary's gone, though.
Singletary's gone, and they need a bell cow, and I don't think James Cook is that guy. I think I like that trade. And because then you prevent one of your...
All right, what are you offering me, then? Because I'm the Bills, right? Or are you the Bills? You're the Bills, damn it. All right, making the trade with
No, you
yourself.
are.
No, because you're at 28.
Cowboys are 20. Cowboys at 26, and Bills are at 27.
Okay. Oh, yeah, duh, because, yeah, this is just off. So, okay. Yep, I am the Bills. I was like, wait, what? Thanks, Draft Network, for fucking me up.
I just think the Seahawks like to trade back too much for this not to make sense, and the Bills, I think that says very likely to not give up anything besides. I think like a 3 and maybe like a future 4 or something like that, or do you think that's too much?
Honestly, I think, what did the Chiefs move up for last year? Let's see. What did the Chiefs move up for McDuffie?
I'm trying to remember what they did. This is about what they moved up, right? It was like
Yeah, because they moved up from the end of the first to about,
20 something.
yeah, so.
Yeah, they moved up to 21. Yeah, so they went from like 30. They went from 30 to 21. So
Let's see. Yeah, let's see what the compensation was.
No trades right there.
Oh, whoops. Did we pause the draft? Yes, we did. Oh, no, we didn't. Boom, huh? And we almost timed out the Seahawks.
That'd have been
A lot of people like the Seahawks.
Um,
You're coming from literally the most hated team in the NFL.
no, that's the Patriots.
No, that's still you guys, I
Yeah,
think,
probably.
because the Patriots was when they were winning.
Third and fourth, yeah.
So yeah, it was 21 for 29, 94, and okay, yeah.
The Seahawks always seem to get like future picks too, so I think like a third here and then a fourth and 24 or something like that. Why is that? This software is not liking that very much, but I think that's a pretty fair trade.
I know it's not value. Yeah, it's got a lot of value on the depth and first round picks, but
Yeah.
we do have the Bills move up here, and they're taking Bijan Robinson once we resume the draft
Imagine
here.
adding him to that offense.
That's
Like,
stupid.
And I heard a rumor that they might trade for DeAndre Hopkins.
I know. They're in on him.
That would be so ridiculous.
Yeah, Hopkins and Diggs. How many weapons does Josh Allen need to finally fucking win?
And I gotta love screwing over the Chargers here. So
Me too. Yeah, I was. That's why I was all for that trade. I do think, though, however, I have the Chargers pick. I don't like the fact that I have the Chargers pick because this is someone I really like. They have him rated fucking down, still at 26, but I love Kalijah Cansey.
They clearly need that interior defensive line.
Oh,
as
bad.
arguably the number one besides running back. If they do,
If they trade Eckler,
if
he's
they
still
trade
on the
Eckler,
roster.
running back is still obviously a pick that.
I'm just saying, how many times have we seen these shake out to where the player doesn't get traded, he's still there, and he these are all still professionals. Like, they can want to trade, but let's see what happens.
Man, Ravens. This is a tough one. I could see him going Cam Smith, but I do think they go wide receiver here, and they'll be typical Ravens and not get a outside receiver, and I think they take Zay Flowers.
I know, just get another Marquise Brown, even
I
though
know.
Lamar just needs a dude you can chuck it up to. But hey,
Yeah, this Vikings could go so many different ways. I don't know what you're gonna do here, man. This is a tough one. I mean,
well, because my age-old adage of hating the fact of the Vikings drafting a corner in the first round, but they need one.
yeah.
They could also use another wide receiver, though, next to Justin Jefferson. Jordan Addison would be a good option as far as like a little route runner, someone who can play very technical in that system.
If you didn't just take Kalijah
For the Chargers, that would have been a good pick. Yep.
Too, yeah.
You know what? I do think Cam Smith has kind of proven the speed and the physicality. Presets wrong. I do like him here, even though the Vikings, once again, fail on their first-round corners. They don't seem to learn, so let's just roll.
In a lot of my mock drafts, before he was in the second round, but now I've been seeing him come to the end of the first a lot, so I think I like that.
Well, they lost their top two coverage guys, according to PFF, both Duke Shelley coming to Vegas and then Patrick Peterson going to the Steelers.
That was a weird signing.
I still think they need another corner, though, because they lost Cam Sutton. They needed a CB2 last year, so I'm still fine on the Witherspoon trade.
The Jaguars, I don't even know right now. This is an interesting one, too.
It says tight end, but they re-signed Ingram. Now, you could use...
Franchised him.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
It's only 1 year.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just don't see tackle unless it's Anton Harrison. They have him a little bit lower, but they did lose Jawan Taylor.
What about what's an edge available right now? I feel like that could be maybe pair it with not Derek Hall.
No one's...
Ooh, there we go. I like that a lot.
Yeah, after drafting Trayvon last year.
I mean, if they like the athleticism and the combine guys, I think that's a perfect spot. I don't know why they have tight end such a high. I mean, if you franchise somebody, I guess it's just a 1 year deal, but they obviously see value in him. He had a great year last year with Trevor Lawrence too.
Oh, I agree. Now, finally, you don't have an NFC East pick. Look at that. Aren't you happy, buddy?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, though. Because I do agree on interior offensive line. I think they need to protect Danny Jones inside a little bit more. Yeah, Osiris Terrence wouldn't be a bad pick. I don't know if they need center. John Michael Schmitz is someone who's kind of gaining some traction as far as the upper two, so I don't like him this early.
Yeah, they could. The safety's a little low down there, but Brian Branch, I don't see him slipping this far, but I feel like he's undervalued for some reason. And I know safety's a hard spot to draft really early, but
Well, he's kind of like that jack of all trades player. You know what I mean? That
corner.
yeah, when you're like a master of none, it kind of scares some teams off sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I do like Brian Branch here. However, they still need to get a wide receiver in that offense. They need to go with a young receiver. And I like Addison as far as a route runner who can get Daniel Jones the short targets.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe let the other guys cook in the offense a little bit more. They brought some guys back, hopefully coming off of injury. But now, how about them Cowboys?
Well, so I think for the first time, maybe ever, because it's actually slipping this way, the Cowboys might actually value the safety position, and I think this is a really good value pick for the Cowboys. I mean, they could obviously. I don't know why tight end is not on this list for the Cowboys team needs, which is weird. They could go Kincaid here, but I think if we add a safety to our defense from last year, I'd like to see corner here too, but there's just not a corner here, in my opinion, worth taking. And Branch could play, as we just discussed, could play nickel as well. I like his versatility. I think I'd love this pick for the Cowboys. Honestly.
Oh yeah, like a box, like versatile, like for he can play deep free safety, but you don't just always have him playing like this deep coverage all the time.
Well, he could be the Micah Parsons of our back part
Yeah.
of our defense.
Well, yeah.
He can play everywhere.
Well, and you also saw it with like Keanu Neal with Dan Quinn in Atlanta too, playing that versatile safety role is where he excelled the most. Now the Seahawks back up on the clock.
This is a weird one too, because I mean, I think Will McDonald makes the most sense. I don't understand.
That's what I was thinking.
Derek Hall is going to be a first round pick.
I don't either. I like Will McDonald. I could see Tommy Adibawari from Northwestern also getting picked here. However, yeah, Will McDonald, I think, because of his just freak athleticism.
Well, and then you add to that, if they get these two guys, that's a great. Their defense is going to be scary. But they already have a solid defense anyway.
Well, yeah, and recouping some assets too. Like the Bengals are a hell of an interesting one now.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at they're going to do every. I mean, they obviously would have taken who I just gave the Cowboys. I'm pretty sure that would have been pretty obvious. I think that. Tight end, there's not a corner worth. I don't think there's any of the corners left available currently are worth taking. I think Dalton Kincaid, if you throw him in that offense, will be a great addition. And you could look at what's the third tight end that's everyone's talking about right now too.
Darnell Washington out of Georgia.
I think someone's going to get a good tight end there too, but I think Dalton Kincaid's the more well-rounded guy. I think add Dalton Kincaid to the Bengals offense. Their offense is already stacked as it is. But yeah, I like that a lot.
Banana.
I feel like this could be a trade-out spot.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Because they got this for Sean Payton. However, the Saints don't have a bad roster. Adding Derek Carr, I think they are the winner of that division right now.
Yeah.
So it's like who trades up here? Like I think there's some intrigue.
Scroll down a little bit on available players. I thought there was somebody I was thinking of that would be
Anton Harrison, somebody.
So Deontay Banks is a corner that I've seen on a lot of my mock drafts that's going in the first round.
Because of his combine, he was hurt last year for Maryland, so a lot of people kind of had him in that lower round 2, upper round 3 area. But after the combine, he's physical on the field and he's got great athleticism. Like I mean, 4.3 guy, like 42-inch vertical, just stupid numbers.
My question is what do the Saints need here if they do stay? Like I don't even know what they. I mean, they have like you said, they have a pretty fairly well-rounded roster.
Yeah, they could use, edge. They lost some defensive linemen, but I think where you're at right now, it makes the most sense to trade back.
Yeah, we got to figure out who to trade up though. That's the question.
So ideally, I think it's a team towards the end of round 2, or the end of round, or a beginning of round 1. Maybe not even corner, just
that tackle you just mentioned.
Anton Harrison could go like someone who needs a left tackle, someone who maybe sees Kincaid get picked and wants Darnell Washington.
Yeah,
could come up there.
That could be it. Trying to think who's the next few picks that make sense for either one of those positions. Titans? Do Titans need tight end? No.
I just don't see them being like that aggressive. Honestly, a team I could still seeing, let's go NFC here, is the Bears possibly still making a move just with all the capital that they have.
And they have so much, they have a ton of capital.
So yeah, they have the 54th pick because you're still at a decently high second rounder here with the Saints.
Well, and the Bears still have that 62nd pick from the Panther trade too. So
yep.
They could give 54 and like
probably a late second, a 4th this year, and then maybe a 3rd next year. That seems to be kind of where we're getting in the
well, and
lines.
it goes well for the Saints because the Saints have traded up a lot over the last few years, so they seem to be short draft picks almost every year too. Um, they totally whiffed on that one big trade that defensive lineman that they lost. They just signed with somebody else. I can't remember what's his name. They traded up like 4 or 5 years ago. They traded up.
Oh
for the first round.
yeah.
Everyone thought they were trading up for a quarterback to sit behind Breeze for a year, and then they traded a DN that no one thought was going to go that high. I can't think of his name right now.
Onyemata or whatever, Onyemata or whatever. I am butchering the fuck out of the pronunciation right now. Team needs. They definitely need an edge, but
I don't think Derek Hall is a first round pick.
drink every time Rick says he doesn't think that Derek Hall is a first round pick. Shut. I do think they go edge here, but I think it's someone a little bit more versatile on Tomi Adibawari. He's someone who, as far as testing, he was testing elite at both the defensive end and mega elite as a defensive tackle. Like, obviously size would be the issue on the interior, but needing both those positions, just kind of, throw it on both.
Right. No, I 100% agree.
All right, back to the Eagles.
I'm doing research on that trade. I can't think of his. What is the guy they traded up for?
I think it was David Onyemata, like the defensive lineman or whatever.
He was a defensive end, but it wasn't him. He just signed with somebody just like a couple days ago. I'll think of it.
DeMarcus Walker? No, that was the Titans.
Gosh, what is his name? Eagles could go a couple different directions here too. We're going to find it here. I'm close. 2021, 2020, 19. What was it? Davenport.
Oh, Marcus Davenport.
They
Yeah,
traded up from 27 to 14, and everyone's like, they're going to go after quarterback here to sit behind Breeze for a year or two, and then they drafted a DN that I thought was kind of a reach at 14.
Davenport was. They could have gotten him at the end of the first, in my opinion. But
and as a typical Seahawks trade, they just trade back and get everybody. Let me see what corners. Yeah.
Deontay, Forbes, Ringo, all could go.
I don't like the guy they have ranked number 1 here. I think either Ringo or Banks. I think they might go They seem like Georgia kids.
I think having the outside guys, I would say Keely, Ringo.
Well, and the Eagles seem to like the Georgia kids, so I think I think Ringo's the route to go here.
Let's do it. Boom. And now the last pick.
I gotta make a lot of NFC East picks in this.
I know. Yeah. Next time you come on, we're changing that. Yeah. Rick, no more NFC East for you. You've had too much NFC East.
And the Chiefs.
I can stop when I want.
The thing of it is with the Chiefs, like I just think they just. Why do they say tackle is the number 1 need? They signed somebody to replace their tackling a lot.
I don't think. I think their right tackle is gone too.
Is Jones a right tackle, or is he left?
Juwan Taylor.
No. Sorry, DeJuan Jones.
DeJuan Jones is right tackle. That's why. But he's a mountain of a man. 6'8", 345. Still moves really well. If you draft a right tackle first round, I think it is him. That's where I was thinking.
It's either that or they go. What if they value one of these next tier wide receivers? I don't value them that yet. I mean, Josh Downs maybe, but he's not a first round pick. I don't think. I think he's like a second.
Early second, yeah.
So unless they really value one of these wide receivers, I see them going 100% that tackle. And you could make a case again. This could be a trade down spot. Who knows? They could shock the world, and Travis Kelce is 34 or 5 years old.
They just have. So I've thought about that. I've done that on another mock before. My only thing with that one is they have a lot of people behind him. They just re-signed Blake Bell, brought him back again for the 5th year. They don't have anybody tight end of the future on their roster, but also they're not lacking in depth or anything. So I thought about that could be the surprise move. Honestly, just at the end of the day, though, I do think DeJuan Jones would be a great pick. We'll just put a bow on it.
Back as if someone up a stupid amount, and I think that no one's going to give up a stupid amount for the last pick of the first round unless it's for like a quarterback, and there's not a quarterback worth getting here. So
No, I don't think Tanner McKee goes round one like a lot of people thought maybe he'd slip into. Like, honestly, he'll probably slip to the second or third round.
I think we might have a no quarterback second round.
I could agree. I
Or
could agree
maybe
with
end
that.
the second round he goes. You know, if someone
Like how Kyle Trask kind of
Yeah.
slipped in there a little bit. Yeah, a couple of years back.
Yep, I agree. I think we had an interesting few trades here. I feel like my Buccaneers trade would be a shocker, but I mean it wouldn't shock. I think it's a valid spot, especially if they do think he is Josh Allen 2.0. Why would you not do that trade? Um,
I agree. Like I said, I mean, even bringing in Baker, it's a 1-year contract. Trask is going on his 3rd year. You don't have that 5th year because he wasn't a first-round pick. So it's like,
One, what has Trask done that makes you feel like he hasn't really got a chance to show it? I can understand that, but they obviously don't trust him enough if they're bringing in Baker Mayfield to be the star.
yeah, fringe starter to kind of, I think that more signals like they might make that move, up there.
Yep.
Especially salary cap kind of being an issue the last handful of years, having Brady there, maybe the team does shift into having a rookie quarterback, maintaining all that talent that is around them because the Buccaneers are the reigning champions. They made the playoffs last year, so
Right.
maybe not where I would lean, but not also crazy to think that they could give the Saints a run for their money with a rookie quarterback, just being that they brought Devin White back. Who was the corner? They brought Jamel Dean back when everybody thought that he was gone.
Oh, I thought he was gone.
Yeah, everybody thought, but they made the cap work, so they haven't really lost a lot of people. They traded Shaq Mason, but I don't think he really worked out. So I think maybe interior offensive line if it is later, but
Why did they trade Shaq Mason for Pocket Lint is my question.
because they got him for Pocket Lint, they got him for a 5th last year, so they traded him for like a 6th or 5th again this
But
year.
he's worth more than that, right?
I agree.
Like that was a great trade.
Yeah, like and
low key one of the best moves in the offseason.
I was surprised when I saw that the Raiders didn't maybe have a hat in that ring, being that Josh McDaniels was signing all the fucking former Patriots. Maybe we'd trade for one, but no,
He never does that.
no, of course
What other
not.
trades did we do? I'm trying to remember. We did the Buccaneers moving up.
We did the Steelers.
That's right. You did the Steelers. That's what it was.
Yeah, Witherspoon here, right there. Let's see. We had Skoronski going here. That's probably something I like, but definitely I've not seen a lot of mocks
I've
out
seen
there
A lot of the mocks that I've done, it shows the Patriots going corner
or wide receiver.
or wide receiver. Yeah.
Yep. Even though they just brought back Jones for Jonathan Jones from last year, they signed Juju too. So wide receiver might not be a round 1 thing. Not saying it's not a need, but also round 1 we're looking at glaring talent. Like you need to put someone to be you're assuming that's a star. No matter if you're 1, no matter if you're 32,
Right.
you're assuming your first round pick's going to be a long time valuable player in your franchise.
Well, and that's another landing spot possibly for DeAndre Hopkins too.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Heard that.
I do think that they have cooled off a lot though. So let me kind of look it up here. I was looking at some reports because obviously I started looking into this a lot more when kind of the Raiders were actually officially linked. Because Pac-Man Jones is good friends with DeAndre Hopkins, so kind of at that point when he's like, "Oh, this is the teams it's down to," it's like, well.
Another one I thought of that I just thought of that we were talking about someone that the Vikings need to pair someone with Jefferson. Imagine adding D-Hop to the Vikings roster. That actually makes a lot of sense too. I don't know. No one's even really talking about them, but
I think next to Jefferson, like get him a couple years, definitely better. And a couple years younger second receiver, because wherever Hop goes, he can be a number 1, but I think where you want to utilize him is either in case he is a number 1 or he is a very high level number 2 that pretty much produces like a number 1, in a la Vegas, Minnesota, Buffalo,
I think if you bring him into Minnesota, I think Kirk Cousins might win the MVP.
That'd be scary because you still Madison's back. They still have Dalvin Cook.
That's kind of cooled off too. I heard they were talking about shopping Cook because they signed Madison, but and then Derrick Henry rumors and Eckler rumors, all these running back rumors, and then nothing has really happened from it. So that was kind of.
Jonathan Gannon, as of today, I'm operating that DeAndre Hopkins is with the Cardinals right now.
Oh yeah, of course he says that.
Just saying.
I think as a coach he has to say that. But and then who knows? I mean, they could. Did that just say the Falcons?
Yeah, the Falcons have had some interest too. That wouldn't be a bad
I
one.
didn't even think about that. That actually makes a lot of sense.
That does.
Because that would help the actually is good. You already have a Drake London, and pair him with that. Oh, that would be just stupid.
That would be stupid, yeah. Chiefs offensive, Pacheco, McKinnon, DeAndre Hopkins, Kadarius Toney. Someone else put OBJ in here as their wide receiver 3. Get fucking real. OBJ is definitely above Kadarius Toney in that.
Right.
I do like Sky Moore still.
I did have to sign OBJ first. I think if they trade for Hopkins, they can't afford what OBJ. I know OBJ doesn't want 20 million, but he doesn't want 4 either. So I don't think the Chiefs have much cap space if they.
Cap space is all a myth. We know
No,
that they'll
that's
clear it
something
if need be.
very creative just to trade for Hopkins. But Hopkins, I think the Cardinals are probably going to be willing to do what the Texans did and pay for a chunk of the contract, like the Texans did with Cooks for the Cowboys. I love that trade, by the way.
Yeah, you guys. I like that trade for you guys more because it still allows you the flexibility. You guys have 13 million still in cap space, like, and that's where it's like LOL is the cap because when you were looking before the season, teams like the Saints have 16 mil right now. They were negative 60. The Chargers have 15 mil.
They cleared up like 60 million and didn't get rid of anyone. They just restructured everyone.
Yeah, that's why you have 2 periods of the off season before free agency. There's re-signings, but there's the more important restructuring period that people don't really talk about enough. Like it makes the whole off season. Like what these contracts are, how you can work them going forward is the biggest thing in the league, I think.
The scariest thing. Obviously, I'm not a massive Dak fan, but I'm also not a hater of Dak as a Cowboy fan.
He's Dallas Derek Carr.
Yeah, but
And I say that with respect.
I did see a rumor floating around that we might give him another extension because he's only got 2 years left. I'm like, no, make him do something. If we have to at least go to the NFC title game before I want him to get another extension. Please, like, he's got to win more than one playoff game in a season. He just has to.
No, he's better than Romo though, right?
I don't think he.
No, I don't think
was.
so. Yeah,
I think
no,
Romo
I
had
don't.
Such a bad rap, man. I think if Romo.
If Romo had this Cowboys team,
I think if Romo could have had the offensive line that he had the last year or 2 with the Cowboys, the first half of his career, he wins at least 1 Super Bowl because he always got hurt because their offensive line was dog shit the first half of his career.
yeah, it was Tyron Smith and a bunch of other motherfuckers.
But he didn't get Tyron Smith until what 09?
Yeah.
When did Romo come into the league?
07, 08.
Yeah, so I guess he did have Tyron the whole time, but everybody else it was trash. And then in 2013 or 12 or whatever it was, they started drafting almost every first round pick was a lineman.
And then look what happened. They made Zeke one of the best running backs of our generation.
And speaking of Zeke, I heard all these rumors that he was going to get signed by 3 different teams, and everyone's like, "Yeah, we're not even looking at him." So, like, that would kind of make me sick to see him.
I think he's
jersey.
he's later this offseason. I think the draft happens before. He's one of those guys like Taylor Lewan we were talking about. The draft happens before he gets signed.
All that's going to take is one major injury to a running back, or imagine if let's say you just brought him up, Tyron Smith gets injured every single year. If he goes down again, I could easily see the Cowboys bringing in Taylor Lewan.
Oh yeah. Like Lewan would almost be better set. Recover your body a little bit, and then from there kind of work it out to okay, maybe we'll bring in Taylor Lewan. There are some veteran options out there.
For sure.
But all right, I know you had a long day at work. I'm ready to go home and chill. Any other things before we do something out of here?
That's about it for now. Next week will be fun.
Let's do it. To you.